Life right now isn't just harder than it used to be. It's a completely different game. And nobody handed us the new rulebook because half the people writing the rules don't even know the rules changed. If you were born somewhere between the early 90s and the mid 2000s, you already know what I mean. You grew up getting advice built for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Do well in school, get the degree, get the steady job, marry someone from your town, buy the house, retire at 60. And honestly, that sounds amazing, simple, stable. You always knew roughly what came next. The only problem is that almost every single step of that path has quietly fallen apart underneath us, and we're the ones standing on it. And look, I'm not here to just sit and complain for 10 minutes. Our parents and grandparents had it rough too, in their own ways. That's real. But our version of hard is brand new. It's confusing, it keeps changing shape, and there's no older person who's already been through it to tell you how it ends. So let's just talk through it. The stuff that's actually different for us and where the cracks of light are. Because there are some, I promise. Let's start with work because this is the big one. For my grandparents, the deal was almost stupidly simple. Pick a job, be loyal, stay 30 or 40 years, get a pension, retire comfortable. They did exactly that. One company, a gold watch at the end. For us, job security is basically a myth. Pensions are mostly gone. And loyalty to a company gets you what? A 2% raise while the new hire doing your job makes more than you. Wages haven't kept up with the cost of living for years, and now there's AI sitting in the corner of every industry quietly asking which jobs it gets to have next. So yeah, the ladder everybody told us to climb, a lot of the rungs are just missing. And it can feel like you're hacking through a jungle with no map, having to relearn everything every couple of years just to stay in the same spot. It overwhelms me too some days, and I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. But here's the flip side, and it's a real one. The old rules being gone also means there are doors open now that literally did not exist 15 years ago. Remote work, freelancing, building something from a laptop in your bedroom. What I'm doing right now wasn't even an option for most people a generation ago. No boss, writing code, making videos, all from home. The honest takeaway isn't climb the ladder harder. It's that the old ladder is half broken anyway, so you might as well start building your own. It takes more creativity and it's scarier, but it's a lot more in your hands than people give it credit for. Next one, education and specifically college. Back in my dad's day, college was actually affordable. He told me he paid his entire tuition working a summer job at a restaurant. Sit with that for a second, because that is science fiction now. I worked 2 jobs at one point in college, went to a cheaper in-state school, and still didn't come close. And the message we all got in high school was this dangerous little lie. Don't even worry about what you study. Just go. It's your golden ticket. That one sentence quietly buried a lot of people under debt for a degree that never paid them back. And I'm not anti-college. Mine worked out. But the only version that reliably makes sense now is a degree in something specialized that actually pays. Otherwise, it's worth seriously looking at the other roads, trade school, teaching yourself and building a portfolio that proves you can actually do the thing. It's just the genuinely good news buried in here is that you can become your own teacher now. The information is all right there. You just have to decide to go get it instead of waiting for a classroom to hand it to you. Number 3 is the strange one because it's the water we swim in. We're the first generation to grow up with the internet. People born right in this weird in between are the last ones who remember life before it, and the first ones completely shaped by it. And it is the ultimate double-edged sword. On one side, unlimited information, free education, people from all over the world, the ability to build a whole career from your room. On the other, you're comparing your normal Tuesday to a few hundred people's highlight reels. Your attention span is in pieces, and you're never really fully off. I lived both sides of this myself. For a long stretch, I'd come home and just dissolve into my phone, a full-time consumer. Then slowly I flipped it, started using it to learn things and to make things instead of just scroll past things. Same exact device. The internet will quietly eat your whole life, or it'll hand you a freedom your grandparents couldn't have dreamed of. The hard part is that nobody else decides which one it is for you. You do a little bit every single day. 4. And I'm just going to say it. Dating is rough out there right now. I was single for a big chunk of my 20s, and it genuinely felt like a battlefield some days. The swiping, the dates that went nowhere, the getting ghosted by someone you thought went well. I got lucky in the end, but I really feel for anyone still grinding through it because it is not the same game our grandparents played. They'd get married in their early or mid-20s, kids by 30, usually someone from their town or their friend group. There weren't 100 people in everyone's messages. There was just less noise. Now, the apps hand everybody endless options, and the weird truth about endless options is that nobody ever feels like they can stop and choose. Everything stays shallow because committing feels like closing a door. I'll be honest, I struggled so as to find a big upside to dating in this era. Maybe it's easier to meet someone you'd never have crossed paths with otherwise. But mostly it's just harder, and pretending it isn't doesn't help anyone. The only thing that actually worked for me wasn't a clever app strategy. It was building a life first, showing up to things regularly, becoming a familiar face somewhere, getting into better shape, doing stuff I actually cared about. You stop chasing and you start being someone worth crossing the room for. The apps can be one road, just don't pour your whole soul into them. It only takes one to work out. 5. Saktima, the cost of living, which is honestly the one that makes everyone laugh out of pure despair. Our parents and grandparents could run a household on one income. A house, a car, kids, all on a single normal salary. And now, a lot of us are doing the math on a one bedroom and quietly panicking. Here's the part I want to be dead honest about, because it's not the comfortable answer. You and I can't control inflation. We just can't. I can't snap my fingers and make houses affordable. I wish I could. But inflation quietly rewards the people who own things and punishes the people who only ever spend. So the one lever you actually have isn't the prices going down. It's slowly moving yourself onto the ownership side of that line. Owning a slice of things, stocks, eventually a place, while keeping your spending way leaner than your friends. It's not glamorous and it's slow. But thinking like an owner instead of a consumer is genuinely one of the few moves that's still in your hands. 6 is the new kid. AI, automation, all of it. Our generation barely got used to the internet, and now there's another world-changing thing on the table. And it's making those first-rung jobs brutal to land, because a lot of the entry-level work, even the code I was writing when I started, AI can just do now. So the bar that used to be beginner is quietly becoming already pretty good. It's exhausting, and older generations genuinely did not have to relearn their entire field every couple of years like this. But same as everything else here, there's the other edge. You've basically got a tireless assistant in your pocket that knows things and does what you ask. There's honestly never been a better moment to be a curious person who's willing to actually learn how to use these tools instead of being scared of them. I get that everyone's sick of hearing AI this, AI that. I'm just telling you, as someone in the same boat, the people who quietly get good at using it are going to have a very different decade than the people who pretend it'll go away. And the 7th one is the heaviest. So I'll slow down for it. Our generation is more anxious, more isolated, and more overwhelmed than the ones before us. And that is not just in our heads. Like, it's real. And there are reasons for it. We're always connected, never quite at peace. And at the same time, a lot of the old things that used to hold people together, community, regular gatherings, those third places that weren't work and weren't home, have quietly thinned out. We lost some of that without really noticing, and a lot of us are walking around with this low hum of not quite belonging anywhere. On top of that, we're getting blasted all day with headlines engineered to scare us and split us into teams, because anger and fear are what hold attention. And I want to be careful how I say this next part, because it gets misquoted. I'm not telling you the world doesn't matter or that you should tune everything out and stop caring. It matters. A lot of it is genuinely awful. What I'm saying, as someone who's burned plenty of his own evenings doom scrolling, is that drowning in things you have zero power over mostly just hollows you out and changes nothing. The stuff that actually moves is small and close, the people in your life, your own corner. Getting yourself to a place where you've actually got something to give. That hits a lot harder than another argument with a stranger online at midnight. So yeah, we're clearly playing a completely different game than the people who raised us. And honestly, that's okay. The board changed, but the deepest rules didn't. Keep getting better at something real. Keep meeting people. Keep adapting instead of waiting for it to go back to how it was, because it isn't going to. None of us got the old map. But that also means a lot of this is unwritten. And unwritten means there's still room in it for you. That's where my head's at. Longer one today, I know. Tell me which of these hits hardest for you, or if there's a struggle I left off the list. I'm right here in it with you.